All right, let's get this deep dive started. Today, we are going to be looking at your metadata strategy document.
Yeah.
And wow, this is impressive. You've been thinking big about how to prepare for AI and those 369 superflights.
Thanks. Yeah. And it is about more than just AI, right? It's about making your data truly ready for agentic AI.
Exactly. And that's what makes this document so interesting. It lays out a plan to get your data ready, step by step.
It's the kind of roadmap that can make those super flights a reality.
Okay, so let's break it down together. We're going to go row by row through this document. Make sure we understand the what and the why behind each step.
Sounds good.
And we're calling this part 1 metadata enablement because it all starts with the foundation.
It really does. You can't build a skyscraper without a solid foundation, and metadata is that foundation for AI.
Perfect analogy. All right, so row 1 is discovery and identification. This is about getting a handle on your data landscape, right?
Exactly. It's about figuring out what you have, where it is, and what it all means before you can even think about using it with AI.
Makes sense. And you've suggested starting with like public data, high value, low risk systems. Why start there?
Well, for a couple of reasons. Public data, it's usually well structured and standardized, so it's a good place to test out your tagging strategy. Plus, it's lower risk. You can fine-tune your process without worrying about sensitive information.
So it's like a test run before you go live with the real thing.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the actual tagging strategy. We see tags like system.name, system.type, and system.owner. Pretty straightforward. But then there's data.sensitivity. That one seems really important, especially with AI. What are your thoughts on that?
Data.sensitivity is crucial, especially when you're training an AI model. Imagine training a model on customer data, and some of that data is really sensitive, like financial information, health records, opinions. Tagging that sensitivity, it lets you control how the AI uses that information. It ensures responsible use.
So it's like giving the AI guidelines for handling delicate information.
Exactly. You wouldn't want the AI making decisions based on data it shouldn't even be looking at.
Right, makes sense. Okay, the systems to enable column mentions things like CRM, reservation systems, flight ops. That's a lot of systems to coordinate.
It is, but it's essential. The document wisely suggests using what you already have. System documentation, diagrams, even talk to your IT people to tap into that knowledge.
So row 1 is all about setting the stage, getting a clear view of what data you have and making sure sensitive information is handled responsibly.
It's the foundation. Everything else builds on this.
Perfect. All right, let's move on to row 2. Data sources to enable. It seems like the natural next step. We've identified the systems. Now we're looking at the specific data sources within them.
Exactly. And the tagging gets more granular here. You see tags like data.source, data.type, data.format, providing context for the data itself.
And I see that data.owner and data.sensitivity are back again. These seem to be recurring themes throughout the document. Why is that?
Ownership and sensitivity are fundamental to responsible AI. You need to know who's responsible for each piece of data and how sensitive it is to ensure proper handling, security, compliance with AI, which can process data on a massive scale. These tags become even more important.
It's like creating a chain of custody for your data, ensuring traceability and accountability every step of the way.
Right.
And I see the document recommends starting with public or anonymized data sets again. Why the emphasis on safe data?
It's all about minimizing risk and learning as you go. Working with public data allows you to refine your tagging, try different categories, build confidence before moving on to the more sensitive stuff.
Makes sense. So you're basically running simulations before launching the real deal.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks like enterprise data governance is taking the lead here with support from the individual business units. That collaboration seems key.
It's absolutely crucial. Data governance, they provide the framework, the standards, but the business units, they understand the data. They're the subject matter experts. You need both perspectives to be successful.
So you have the architects and the builders working together, making sure the data foundation is solid.
I like that analogy.
Okay, so we've identified our systems, tagged our data sources, and set up those ownership and sensitivity guidelines. What's next?
Well, we've got the data. Now we need to think about knowledge. And that's where things get really interesting. We've got the data down. Now it's time to step into the world of knowledge.
Okay, knowledge. This is where things get really futuristic for me. We talked about data. But now row 3 is knowledge sources. What exactly does that mean?
Think of it this way. Data is like the raw ingredients, but knowledge, that's the finished dish. It's the insights, the expertise that make that data meaningful. And for agentic AI, it's not enough to just have data. You need to tap into that knowledge.
So we're feeding the AI wisdom, not just information.
Exactly. This is all about finding and tagging the sources of knowledge that will empower your AI, both internal and external sources.
Give me some examples. What kind of knowledge sources are we talking about here?
Internally, it could be things like wikis with best practices, training materials for different processes, even recordings of meetings where big decisions were made. Externally, it might be research papers from your industry market trends competitor analysis.
Wow, so we're creating this massive brain for the AI filled with all the knowledge we can find.
That's a good way to put it. And just like with data, we need to tag those sources effectively. The document mentions knowledge.source, knowledge.type, knowledge.format.
I'm guessing those tags help the AI find the right knowledge at the right time.
Exactly. If the AI is dealing with a problem in flight operations, it needs to be able to access the relevant knowledge from those flight manuals or training materials right away.
That makes sense. So these tags help the AI sift through all that knowledge and surface the most useful insights.
Exactly.
The document also mentions prioritizing sources that are readily accessible and high quality. Start with the knowledge that's easy to use and has the biggest impact.
Right. It's about getting the most bang for your buck when it comes to knowledge integration.
But this sounds like a huge undertaking. Who's in charge of this knowledge quest?
The document points to enterprise knowledge management taking the lead. But again, collaboration with the business units is crucial. They're the ones who really understand the knowledge landscape.
It's like we're assembling this dream team of knowledge, experts, and technical wizards.
I like that analogy.
Okay. So we've prepped our data,
Yeah.
gathered our knowledge. It feels like we're building something really special here. What's the next step in this metadata enablement journey?
Well, now we need a place to put all this data and knowledge. A central hub where it can be organized and accessed by the AI. That's where row 4 comes in. Metadata management.
So we've been talking about tagging strategies, but now we're talking about the system that holds it all together.
Exactly. This is about establishing a centralized metadata repository. A single source of truth for all your metadata.
That sounds important.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want your metadata scattered all over the place.
Yeah.
Especially when you're aiming for those 369 superflights.
Yeah.
You need a system that can handle that kind of complexity.
Absolutely. A centralized repository keeps things consistent, accessible, and it makes it easier to manage and update your metadata over time. It's the backbone of your entire metadata strategy.
Okay, I see. And of course, we need to tag the metadata itself. It's like metadata inception tags, like metadata.type, metadata.owner, metadata.sensitivity. It seems like those same principles of ownership, sensitivity, and governance applied to the metadata itself.
Exactly. Metadata is just another type of data. It needs to be managed carefully. You need to know who owns it, how sensitive it is, and how it's being used.
Right, so we're applying the same rigor to the metadata as we do to the data itself.
Precisely.
And who's responsible for this metadata management system?
The document points to enterprise data governance again, which makes sense. They're the ones who set the standards, define the processes, and make sure everything aligns with the overall data strategy.
So they're like the architects of our metadata universe, making sure everything is structured correctly.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so we've got our data, our knowledge, and a well-organized metadata management system. It feels like we're building a powerful foundation for agentic AI.
We are, and now it's time to talk about the brains of the operation. The LLM platform and infrastructure. That's row 5.
LLM, that stands for Large Language Model, right? The stuff that powers those chatbots and AI assistants we see everywhere.
That's right. In this case, we're talking about enterprise-grade LLM platforms that can handle the scale, the complexity, the security requirements of your organization.
It's like picking the engine for a rocket ship. You need something powerful and reliable if you want to reach those superflight destinations.
Another great analogy. And just like with a rocket engine, we need to carefully choose the right LLM platform. The document talks about factors like performance, scalability, security, integration capabilities.
So it's not about picking the flashiest AI. It's about picking the right tool for the job.
Exactly.
I see you're also tagging the platform itself with things like LLM.platform, LLM.model, and LLM.version. What's the reason for that?
It's all about transparency and control. You need to know exactly what platform you're using, what models are running on it, and what version you have. This is important for tracking performance, ensuring compatibility, and managing updates.
It's like having a detailed logbook for your AI engine, tracking its history and performance.
Exactly. And it's crucial for troubleshooting, auditing, and making sure everything is working as it should be.
Now, who gets to make this crucial decision about which LLM platform to use?
The document suggests that enterprise IT takes the lead. They have the expertise in infrastructure management security protocols and integration with existing systems.
Okay, makes sense. They're the ones who understand the technical landscape and can make sure the LLM platform fits in seamlessly.
Right.
So we have our data, our knowledge, our metadata management system,
Yeah.
and now our AI engine. But how do we connect all these pieces together?
That's an excellent question. And that's where row 6 comes in, RAG framework components. This is the bridge between your LLM and all that valuable data and knowledge you've curated.
Okay, our RAG framework. Break that down for me. What exactly are we talking about?
RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. It's a way to supercharge your LLM by giving it access to external sources of information.
So it's not just processing data internally.
Right.
It's pulling in relevant knowledge from all those sources we identified earlier.
Exactly. It's like giving your AI a team of researchers constantly feeding it the most up-to-date and relevant information from a vast library of knowledge.
Wow, this is starting to feel like those 369 superflights are within reach. But how does this RAG framework actually work? What are the components?
The document mentions several key components, including a vector database, which is used for searching and retrieving information from those external sources. There are also components for indexing, ranking, and filtering information to make sure the AI is getting the most relevant and reliable insights.
Okay, so it's a really sophisticated system for retrieving information, making sure the AI has the best possible knowledge at its fingertips.
Right.
And of course, we're tagging all these components with rag.framework, rag.component, and rag.version.
Absolutely. Just like with the LLM platform, we need to maintain transparency and control over the RAG framework as well.
So we're keeping track of every piece of this puzzle, making sure we understand how everything fits together.
Exactly.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
all coming together. We've got our data, our knowledge, our metadata management system, our AI engine, and now this RAG framework to connect everything. It's a truly impressive blueprint for agentic AI. But with all this power comes a lot of responsibility, right?
You're absolutely right. And that brings us to row 7 security framework. We need to make sure all of this is secure and protected.
This is where we talk about protecting our AI system and all the sensitive data it's handling.
Right. Exactly. Security is absolutely critical, especially with powerful AI systems and valuable data at play.
So we've built this incredible system for agentic AI. Now let's talk about how to keep it safe and secure.
Absolutely. Row 7 security framework is all about putting those safeguards in place.
It feels like a crucial step, especially as we prepare for those 369 superflights. We need to make sure everything is locked down and protected.
You're right. This row focuses on defining strong security protocols for every layer of your AI ecosystem.
Okay, so where do we start?
Well, it starts with access control, making sure that only authorized personnel can access the LLM platform, the RAG framework, and of course the data and knowledge sources.
So it's like building a fortress around our AI system with multiple layers of security.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just who has access. The document mentions data masking and encryption techniques to protect sensitive information, even when it's being used by the AI.
So even if someone manages to breach the outer walls,
Yeah.
the data itself is still protected.
Exactly. It's about minimizing risk at every level.
And I see that regular security audits and penetration testing are also mentioned. It's like having a security team constantly patrolling the perimeter, making sure there are no weak spots.
That's a great analogy. And they need to stay vigilant, constantly updating their strategies to address new threats and vulnerabilities.
Now, the document also mentions compliance with relevant regulations. What kind of regulations are we talking about here?
Well, it depends on your industry and the type of data you're handling. But it could include things like GDPR for data privacy, HIPAA for healthcare data, or SOX for financial data.
So it's about making sure our AI system is not just powerful, but also responsible and law-abiding.
Exactly. Compliance is not just a checkbox. It's about ensuring that your AI operates ethically and within the legal boundaries.
Makes sense. Now, even with the best security and compliance measures in place, there's always the potential for unintended consequences when you're working with AI, right?
Absolutely. And that's why row 8 legal regulatory compliance is so important. This row emphasizes the need for legal oversight, especially for anything the LLM or RA system produces that could have legal or ethical implications.
So it's like having a legal team on standby, ready to review any AI-generated output that might raise concerns.
Exactly. It's about mitigating risk, ensuring fairness, and maintaining public trust in your AI systems.
It's a crucial step, because as powerful as AI is, we need to make sure it's being used responsibly.
I agree. It's about finding the right balance between innovation and responsibility.
Okay, so we've laid the groundwork, we've built the infrastructure, we've addressed security and compliance. It feels like we're finally ready to launch those 369 superflights.
We are. And that's where row 9, initial use case selection, comes in. This is where you choose the first few projects to put your agentic AI to the test.
Okay, so it's like choosing the destination for our maiden voyage. Where do we want to go first? What do we want to accomplish?
The document stresses the importance of choosing well-defined problems with measurable outcomes. No pie-in-the-sky projects, just focused, achievable goals.
So we're looking for those quick wins, projects that can demonstrate the value of agentic AI.
Exactly. And the document highlights the collaboration between business units and the Enterprise AM Center of Excellence. They need to work together to identify those promising opportunities.
Okay, so it's a team effort. We need the people who understand the business challenges and the people who understand the AI solutions to work together.
Precisely.
And what about tracking these use cases? What kind of metadata tags are we using for that?
The document mentions tags like usecase.name, usecase.bu, and usecase.objective. It's all about tracking progress, measuring impact, and learning from each project to improve your approach.
Okay, so each use case is like a stepping stone. We learn from each one and get closer to our ultimate goal.
Exactly. Each successful use case builds momentum and shows the value of agentic AI.
Okay, so we've chosen our initial use cases, but before we launch those rockets, we need to make sure our crew is ready, right?
Absolutely. That's where row 10, training and enablement, comes in. We need to equip our team with the knowledge and skills to work effectively with agentic AI.
This seems crucial. Even with the best technology, if people don't know how to use it, that can be very effective.
You're right. The document talks about developing training programs on LLM and REG fundamentals, prompt engineering, and even data literacy skills.
It's about giving everyone the tools they need to be successful in this new world of agentic AI.
And it's not just about technical skills. It's about understanding the impact of AI on roles, workflows, decision-making processes.
So it's really about preparing the entire organization for the future of work with AI as a collaborative partner.
Exactly. AI is changing everything, and we need to be ready for it.
Okay, so we've trained our crew, but we still need to make sure they know how to communicate effectively with our AI co-pilot, right?
You got it. That's where row 11, prompt engineering, comes in. It's about teaching people how to craft those instructions that get the AI to do what you want.
So it's like learning the language of AI, figuring out how to ask the right questions to get the right answers.
Exactly. The document talks about establishing guidelines and best practices for prompt structure language, even avoiding bias in how we phrase our questions.
It's about being intentional and thoughtful in how we interact with these powerful AI systems.
Precisely. And it's an ongoing process. We're constantly learning and refining our approach as we understand more about how LLMs interpret and respond.
So it's a two-way street. We're learning from the AI, and the AI is learning from us.
Exactly.
Now we've launched our super flights. We need a way to track our progress and make sure we're on course.
Right. Absolutely. Row 12, evaluation and metrics, is all about defining those measures of success for your agentic AI implementation.
It's like having instruments on our spaceship, telling us our altitude, speed, fuel levels.
I like that analogy. We need to know if we're heading in the right direction and making progress toward our goals.
Okay, so what kind of metrics are we talking about here?
The document mentions things like accuracy, efficiency, user satisfaction, and of course the impact on key business objectives. It's about measuring those tangible benefits of agentic AI.
So it's not just about building a cool AI system, it's about making sure that AI system is actually delivering value.
Exactly, and those metrics give us the data we need to make informed decisions and continuously improve.
Okay, so we're constantly monitoring, analyzing, and adjusting course based on what the data tells us.
Right. It's a data-driven approach to AI implementation.
Makes sense. Now it seems like we're shifting gears a bit, moving from implementation to optimization and ongoing improvement.
You're right. The remaining rows focus on ensuring that your agentic AI is a dynamic asset that continuously learns and evolves.
I'm interested to hear more. Let's move on to row 13, prompt engineering guidelines. We talked about prompt engineering earlier, but this seems to be about taking it to the next level.
Exactly. This is where we establish best practices and standardized approaches for prompt engineering across the organization. The document suggests creating a central repository for prompt templates, examples, and guidelines.
So it's like a style guide for AI communication, ensuring that everyone is speaking the same language.
That's a good way to put it. And it's not just about grammar and syntax. It's about promoting ethical and responsible AI use through our prompts.
Right, so those ethical considerations are baked into the way we interact with AI from the very beginning.
Exactly. And it requires continuous education and reinforcement to make sure everyone is on the same page.
Okay, now, as we refine our prompts and learn more about agentic AI, we need a way to track how the system is performing and identify areas for improvement, right?
Absolutely. That's the purpose of row 14. LLMR performance monitoring. This is about establishing a system for tracking key performance indicators or KPIs.
So it's like having a dashboard for our AI system with all the essential gauges and dials.
That's a great analogy. We need to know how fast it's going, how accurate it is, how efficiently it's operating.
And it's not just about collecting data. It's about understanding what that data means and using it to improve the system.
Exactly. It's about turning data into actionable insights and continuously optimizing performance.
Okay, so we're always looking for ways to make the AI system better, faster, more efficient.
Precisely. And it's an iterative process. We learn, adjust, and improve over time.
Now, as we gather performance data and identify areas for improvement, it seems like we need a process for actually making those improvements to our models and prompts.
You're absolutely right. Row 15 model prompt iteration is all about that continuous cycle of learning and refinement.
So it's a feedback loop.
Yeah.
We use the performance data to make the system better.
Exactly. If we see that certain prompts aren't working well, we can adjust them or even change the model. Similarly, if the LLM is struggling with specific tasks, we can retrain it or explore different models.
So it's a very dynamic process, constantly evolving and adapting to improve the AI system.
Precisely. We're never really done. We're always looking for ways to push the boundaries and make things better.
Okay, we've talked a lot about the technical aspects, but we can't forget about the human element, right?
Absolutely. Row 16, user feedback and integration, emphasizes the importance of gathering input from the people who are actually using the AI system.
So it's like having a suggestion box for our AI. But instead of just collecting those suggestions, we actually use them to make improvements.
Exactly. We need to understand how people are using the AI, what challenges they're facing, what features they'd like to see.
It's about making sure the AI is truly useful and valuable to the people who are using it.
Precisely. And it requires a culture where feedback is encouraged, valued, and acted upon.
Okay, so we're building this partnership between the AI and its users, a collaboration that makes the system better for everyone.
Exactly.
Now we're in the home stretch of this document. And it feels like we're moving from implementation to adoption and long-term sustainability.
You're right. These last few rows are about making sure your agentic AI is not just a technical solution, but an integrated part of your organization.
Okay, so let's talk about row 17, change management and communication. This feels crucial for something as transformative as AI.
Absolutely. It's about preparing your organization for the changes that AI will bring, making sure everyone understands the benefits and feels comfortable with the technology.
It's like launching a new product, but instead of marketing it to customers, we're marketing it to our own team. We need to build excitement, address concerns, and create buy-in.
Exactly. And it takes strong leadership, open communication, and a willingness to address those concerns head-on.
So we're guiding the organization through this transition to a future powered by AI.
Precisely.
Now, even with the best change management in place, there are always ethical considerations that come with implementing AI.
Right. That's an important point. Row 18, Data Governance and Ethics, addresses that. This is about ensuring that our use of AI aligns with our values and respects individual rights.
So we're building a strong ethical framework for AI, ensuring it's not just powerful, but also responsible.
Exactly. We need to be aware of potential biases and make sure we're using AI for good.
It's about being mindful of the impact AI has on individuals and society as a whole.
Precisely. And it requires ongoing dialogue, collaboration, and a commitment to ethical principles.
Okay, so as we move forward with agentic AI, we need to make sure it's not just advancing our business goals, but also advancing humanity.
I agree. It's about finding that balance between technological progress and human values.
Now, as AI gets more complex, it's becoming increasingly important to understand how it makes decisions.
You're right. That's the focus of row 19, AI explainability and transparency. We need to be able to explain how our AI systems work, not just to technical people, but to everyone.
So we can't treat AI as a black box. We need to be able to look inside and understand its reasoning.
Exactly. And that can be a challenge because many AI systems are incredibly complex, but we need to find ways to make them more transparent and understandable.
It's about building trust in AI, making sure people feel comfortable using it and relying on its decisions.
Precisely. And it's an ongoing effort. As AI continues to evolve, we need to keep working on making it more explainable.
Now we've reached the final row of this document, and it seems like we're moving beyond implementation into a realm of continuous learning and evolution.
You're absolutely right. Row 20, Continuous Learning and Improvement, emphasizes that agentic AI is not a one-time project. It's an ongoing journey.
It's like we're setting off on this incredible adventure, and we're constantly learning and adapting along the way.
That's a great analogy. We're exploring uncharted territory with AI, and every step we take is an opportunity to learn and grow.
So this is not the finish line. It's just the starting point for something truly amazing.
Exactly. And it's exciting to think about all the possibilities that lie ahead.
This has been an incredible deep dive. We've covered so much ground, from the technical details to the ethical considerations to the human impact of agentic AI.
It's clear that you've put a lot of thought into this strategy, and it's going to be an invaluable guide as you navigate this new world.
And I can't wait to see what you achieve with it.
Yeah.
The future of AI is bright, and it's people like you who are leading the way.
It's an exciting time to be working with AI, and I'm thrilled to be a part of this journey.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into agentic AI. And remember, the most important thing is to keep learning, keep exploring, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Until next time, keep innovating and keep striving for those 369 superflights.